Hello, everybody. I'm Jesse Waters, along with Judge Jeanine Pirro, Jessica Tarlov, Dana Perino, and Greg Gutfeld. It's 5 o'clock in New York City, and this is The Five. Donald Trump scorching Kamala Harris on the campaign trail while working his charm directly with the voters. The former president making one of his classic retail pit stops at a grocery store in Pennsylvania, buying a big old bag of popcorn and helping out a mom fight the scourge of Kamala inflation by slipping her 100. Trump then lighting up VP Harris on the economy while out in Georgia. Watch.
We will have, ready, no tax on tips. No tax on overtime. The word tariff, properly used, is a beautiful word. Under my leadership, we are going to take other countries' jobs. By contrast, listen to the deal. Kamala Harris. Have you heard of her? This woman is grossly incompetent. Grossly incompetent. She's called the tax queen. They love her in other countries because she forces everybody out of our country into their hands.
Trump also proving to be one heck of a showman during his speech, riffing on everything from Kamala's McLies to Oprah.
She lied about McDonald's. She said, I was a worker in McDonald's. And I stood over the French fries. I'm going to a McDonald's over the next 2 weeks. And I'm going to stand over the French fries because I want to see what her job really wasn't like. I knew Oprah very well. She loved me before politics. She was down at Mar-a-Lago. Donald, this is the most beautiful place I've ever seen. She loved the key lime pie. I love that key lime pie. Do you think Biden lies awake at night thinking, how are we going to get Europe to pay? No, he goes to sleep. Here's a guy can sleep on the beach. How do you sleep on the beach when you have cameras on? I love that chart. I sleep with that chart.
Okay. Feeling good, the president, Dana, but also really hitting hard the economic message.
So it's interesting that he chose to go to Georgia. I think that was the right thing to do. And I think it was the right thing to do to really focus on the economy, especially because that's what Kamala Harris is going to do tomorrow. So he did that. And he's in a state that is run by a Republican governor who is uber competent. And the state of Georgia is doing great. The economy is humming along. And he had an opportunity to say, this is the kind of economy people want. And you get more of that with the conservative than you do with the liberal. So your dollar goes further. He made some bad headlines in August, right? Remember, he went after the very popular Governor Kemp. Then they had to make up. And Kemp wasn't at the event today. That's fine. But Kemp's operation in the state is really, really good. So, and Kemp has said, I'm on board. So talking about the economy there is great. That's what people want to see. I also think that the retail politicking at the grocery store, it's just great to see a different way to look at a candidate, somebody who is out there with the people. I'm sure that woman would have loved to keep that $100 bill. That's a very special thing in her life. But he's in a position where he can help people with groceries. But his message was, I'm going to be here to do that for all of you. And I thought that as a visual was great.
And that $100 bill was in no way a bribe, Judge Jeanine. That was just from the bottom of his heart, charity.
That's Donald Trump being Donald Trump. I mean, you know, he does that all the time. After dinner, he'll go into a kitchen and say hello to everybody in the kitchen, and they're all stunned. And he's taking pictures and, you know, giving them. He does a lot of things that people don't realize he does. And he is a showman, there's no question. But there is also another side of him that a lot of people haven't seen. But what I loved about today was I loved listening to Donald Trump talk about how he was going to improve the economy and what he was going to do to make sure that he brought jobs back to the United States. He talked about reducing corporate taxes on companies from 21% to 15% if they make their goods in the United States. I mean, he's consistent with his theme of, you know, making America wealthy, safe, strong, and great again. He talked about research and development tax credits on U.S.-based manufacturing. And then he talked about special zones, federal land with low regulation, where they were going to incentivize companies to come in and make American products. And then he actually talked about a global ambassador to go out to the world and say, bring those jobs back to the United States. Bring it all back here. Let's do it in America. And I loved when he said 100% tariff on cars made in Mexico. If you want someone who is going to do what a Democrat president has not been able to do, and that is improve the economy. It was only when Trump was in office that we had the consumer confidence and the animal instincts that go with the consumer confidence. Kamala Harris can't even answer whether we're better off now than we were 4 years ago. And all this nonsense of, oh, I'm going to do price fixing. Like, you know what? You know why that infuriates me? Because if she's concerned about the American person like Donald Trump is at the bodega or with the construction workers at 6 a.m. before the trial or wherever he went in Chick-fil-A, you know, if she were concerned, she would start working on it right now. If the big corporations, Kamala, are making it impossible for Americans to pay for food that they have to pay with credit cards and they're living paycheck to paycheck, then why don't you put it into effect right now? Why don't you do something and prosecute them? Because she doesn't care. She only cares if you vote for her, and she'll never do it if you do.
Jessica Tarloff.
Well, she has done it. So since she announced this antitrust enforcement, she never once said price fixing. She never said price controls.
Price gouging.
That is
just in. The FBI says Chinese hackers are preparing to launch an attack on U.S. infrastructure.
That is not the same thing as saying I'm going to implement price controls. Kroger dropped their prices. Walmart dropped their prices. It was effective in doing it. Really? And the economy is dramatically better under the Biden-Harris administration. We now have a soft landing coming. We were able to get a 50 basis point cut because of it. We have Dow 42K. And I get it. The retail politicking, I can see the charm of it. I can see how exciting it would be if Donald Trump walked into the kitchen that I was working at or the bodega that I was working at. But the American people are seeing through it, and it's being reflected in who they think is best suited to handle the economy. Donald Trump's lead on the economy is getting slashed in every survey that comes out. In the NBC poll, he's only up 9. He used to be up 13 points higher than that. In the CBS poll, up 6. The Fox poll, up 5. Tied in the FT poll and Morning Consult. We know that his policies will be more inflationary. He's going to add something like $5.8 trillion to the deficit. Kamala only $1.2 trillion. And when he continues to say, well, I'm going to do these things. I'm going to have the cost of energy. No plan to do it. The tariffs, that is not good economic policy. This is going to add a 20% tariff to some goods. That's not just something that you throw around. That's something that could be devastating for the American economy. And so you can rail about her. You can call her incompetent. And frankly, it's been shown as well that people do not take well to him standing up there and continually insulting her in that tone. But people are hearing what she's saying about her plans, the progress we've made, and what she's going to continue to do. And that's why his edge is being decreased every time a new survey comes out. Okay.
It is funny to hear Jessica talk about how Trump's plans are going to bring so much inflation where he had no inflation these 4 years. None.
I think they remember, the Harris campaign is based on just getting these people to vote. They don't have to offer any specifics. The act itself is the vote. Tariffs, by the way, they aren't a blanket tool. You use it on companies in countries where the government helps subsidize the company, so you can match that. You don't do it across the board. You pick specific companies where we compete with that company, and if they are subsidized, you go for them. The retail politicking, Trump 101. Super comfortable, charming, and real. Harris is a walking bag of social anxiety. It's like comparing a Navy SEAL to a real SEAL. And I do think Trump needs to do more of this stuff. He's unmatched. He can charm Joy Behar off a food truck. I like, you saw him. Compare my show to when Kamala was on on Oprah. It was a disaster. I think that modern Democrats, and I'm not including people like even, Obama or Bill Clinton, modern Democrats have a real problem acting like a human being. And it's because they can only see people in groups, boxes of identity. So you're going to change your accent for one group or talk about hot sauce with another group because you think all black people are the same or all Hispanic people are the same, when in reality, a black man could have more in common with a white man than a fellow black man because there are fewer differences between groups than people within groups. And race baiters don't want you to know that. But data shows you that. That's why you have clumsy Democrats trying to mimic behavior than just be normal. Liz Warren trying to open a beer. Tim Walz fiddling with an air filter. Kamala suddenly embracing guns and saying the worst thing you would ever say for a gun owner, which is I'll just shoot somebody when they come in. Lawful gun owners don't say that. But that's what happens when you no longer see individuals. But groups, you treat them, I don't know, as like aliens from another planet. But when you focus on the economy, Kamala's in trouble. She can't talk about an economy. It's like, imagine if the Knack could never play My Sharona, or Leonard Skinner could never play Freebird, or Kaja Gugu, Dana, never playing Too Shy.
Kaja who?
Kaja Gugu. That's James Carville with his one big hit, It's the Economy, Stupid. He can't play it because when you say that, the people hear it are going to vote for Trump. They're going to look back and go, yeah, all you have to ask, were you better off 2016 to 2020? Of course you were. So instead, he's stuck playing covers on MSNBC. Also, and I'll finish with this, Trump should definitely talk about manufacturing because it is tied to the economy. You have to, it's the hardest part about capitalism is making something at volume consistently so it's affordable. That's why making factories is the biggest deal. That's why Trump talks about it and Musk talks about it. What does Kamala know about manufacturing? What could she say? Maybe, taxpayer-funded sex changes. She puts the man in manufacturing. That's about it.
What about all the new plants that have been created under the Biden-Harris administration for the CHIPS and Science Act?
What about all the ones that are closing because of the electric vehicles?
What is it, 700,000 new manufacturing jobs, even with the downward revision?
Wait a minute. Didn't Obama say he didn't have a magic wand? He couldn't bring them back?
Are you actually, so you think that Trump is going to win because you're bringing up something Obama said?
Because Trump did bring him back when Obama said you couldn't.
All right. Nice try, Jessica. Try it again next segment. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.